Imagine if you found yourself on another planet with no way to communicate. How would you get your basic needs met? How would you form relationships and share ideas? How would you find a system for communicating? Let's explore what communication is and why it is so important in our lives. Communication may be intentional or unintentional, may involve conventional or unconventional signals, may take linguistic or non-linguistic forms, and may occur through spoken or other modes. Verbal or expressive communication is the most common means by which we communicate. However, it is not the only way. Gestures, body language, and pointing are considered as non-verbal communication and are just as effective at getting our messages across. Some of the reasons why we communicate may include, but are not limited to, letting others know our needs, desires and perceptions, how we are feeling, and to relay knowledge and information. Communication is always a reciprocal exchange of information between the messenger and the receiver. It involves not only expressing, but listening. Often, people overlook the importance of behaviours as a means of communication. We all communicate through our behaviour. For many people with intellectual disability, behaviours may be their only reliable way of getting their messages across to others. Often, the use of behaviours as a means of communication are labelled as challenging behaviours. An individual may use behaviour to communicate a need to escape or avoid a situation or environment. Behaviour may also be used to express pain, a desire for social engagement and interaction, how one is feeling, and external environmental factors. It is important to consider how an individual's behaviours may serve as a means of communication in place of other effective, functional means of communication. Effective communication includes, but is not limited to, having a shared communication system. What is meant by a shared communication system? A shared communication system is when a person can communicate an idea, be understood and responded to. This may be through the use of speech. But if this is not possible, then alternative systems need to be used. Gestures or behaviours that are specific to the person and understood by the support network may form an effective communication system. Communication aids or devices that are used and are useful to the person are another alternative. Both the person and the support network must know how to use the communication system. If the communication system isn't shared, frustration and restriction can be experienced. Think about a situation where you have interacted with people who do not speak your language. How difficult was it to have successful interactions and have your wants and needs met? This is the same for an individual with an intellectual disability. If the support network doesn't understand how the communication system works, the individual will become discouraged and frustrated. If the support network doesn't know how to use the communication system, the individual will become discouraged and frustrated. Whatever the communication system, it needs to be accessible to the individual. Too often, communication systems and aids are placed in staff rooms or secured away from the person who needs it. The support network should not dictate the means of communication or access to communication aids. Imagine if someone physically prevented you from communicating and controlled when you could communicate. This is similar to the experiences for individuals who do not have access to their communication systems. So remember, we all communicate in many ways. Effective communication is when we use a shared and reciprocal system to express the full range of human experiences.